So how much important it is to understand the value of left Vishuddhi. All of us catch on left Vishuddhi and we do not think that it is such an important thing. We say, oh, left Vishuddhi catching means I am feeling guilty. We do not understand that what have I done? I have crossed the limits. That's why it's showing there. I have neglected some kind of a morality. I have gone on a wrong path against mother and father. That's why left Vishuddhi is catching. Left Vishuddhi is the indication of the mistakes, of the wrongs, of the sins. We can't afford to have left Vishuddhi. Sahaja-yogis cannot afford to have left Vishuddhi. To add to the trouble, they smoke. They take all kinds of things. In India they take what you call tamaku. It's a kind of a, what leaves are these? Tobacco leaves. And they think they have done no wrong. But left Vishuddhi catches. Left Vishuddhi, in a way, is the gateway to all kinds of problems for yourself. So be careful not to feel guilty about anything. Moreover, it's a very vicious, great vicious circle. For example, somebody has done something wrong. I have decided that I have to tell them on their face whether they like it or not. This is wrong, as far as possible. Of course, I try to play sometimes tricks on them to understand. If they do not understand my telling them, up to a point. And then I tell them that now you better get out. I cannot have you in my body anymore. So I throw them out of Sahaja Yoga. Once they are out of Sahaja Yoga, at least my headache is over. Now, what I have seen that when this negativity starts acting, people, instead of facing it, facing the mistakes that I am wrong, I should not have done it, it's a wrong thing to do, start giving explanations. Once you start giving explanation, this left Vishuddhi starts becoming like a bloated big lump. And then there's no possibility of curing, no possibility of cleansing. So people start giving explanation why I did it, why I did this. Once it is said is wrong, to be accepted, all right, next time I'm not going to do it, I'm very sorry. But sorry seems to be a very difficult word for at least Western Sahaja Yogis and some of the Indian Sahaja Yogis also, to say sorry. I'm very sorry. Indians never feel guilty is a good idea. But they never say sorry. So it's just the same. Now, one has to understand that when you have committed a mistake, you are a human being. To err is human and to forgive divine. But you must know that you have erred. If you go on giving explanations, then one thing is definite, you do not understand that God knows everything. If He says you have done wrong, then it is wrong. How can you challenge? How can you say, this is the reason I did it, that's the reason? It's the thing one must understand. Because this is the power of electricity. You must understand, it gives you a shock. It shocks you. And then you realize that I have done a mistake. So don't create a shock for yourself. Do not behave in a manner that ultimately you end up with a shock. Of course, the mother's power is so forgiving, Sadashiva's power is so forgiving, that you are allowed and allowed and allowed to continue with what you are doing for a while. But is being told, is explained to you that this is wrong. But supposing you cross your limits, absolutely, then suddenly the Vishnu Maya appears and the whole thing gets exposed. In Sahaja Yoga, you get exposed. So one must know that though this power is so helpful, so guiding, so improving and nourishing and protecting, still, up to a point. Otherwise it is she only who exposes you. Because she can't bear any more this nonsense from. So if you go on like that, she'll just see to it that she is exposed. You have seen people have been doing all kinds of filthy things. I have known many prime ministers and all these presidents and this and that. When they die, exposed. Nobody says that such and such person was a chaste person. Very few leaders of nations have got this certificate, that they were very chaste people. Chastity is a very, very rare certificate they get. Because once you get a power in life, then you think you have a free hand. You can do what you like. You can be a chaste person. You can be anyway unchaste. You can do what you like. You become sort of overpowered with this idea that I have got all the powers now, I am very well placed. And that becomes a complete delusion for you, and you forget that chastity is so important. So the higher a person is placed in life, the higher positions he occupies, the higher what you call the ego pampering stuff he gets, the more he presses down on the left Vishuddhi. So such a person escapes into the left Vishuddhi because in his heart of hearts, in his unconscious, he feels guilty. And the whole thing goes as a guilt. Guilt in the left Vishuddhi. And when it goes as a guilt in the left Vishuddhi, then it's a difficult situation. Because such a person, he becomes extremely sensitive. You say anything to that person, he feels more guilty. You try to cure his left Vishuddhi, then he becomes even worse. It's a very bad situation with left Vishuddhi people. And they are the people who have left Vishuddhi always give explanations. A person who has right Vishuddhi will be arrogant, but left Vishuddhi people have a very sly method of giving answers back, an explanation for everything. Whatever you say, they will say, no mother, this is this, this is this. This is one thing. Not only, it doesn't end there, it gives you sarcasm. That's why in the West people never talk straightforward. It's always sarcastic. To talk straightforward means they think it's stupid, it's unintelligent. Unless and until you talk in a very sarcastic manner, which sometimes, it's difficult to reach. That's how, in a very crooked way, they talk. And that crookery comes through this left Vishuddhi problem. If your left Vishuddhi is so bad, you cannot achieve anything that is sweet, that is beautiful, that's appreciative. Left Vishuddhi will never appreciate. Those who suffer from left Vishuddhi can never appreciate another person, can never. It will have its own say. It will think I am the best, because it has to exist. That problem has to exist. So how? It's a kind of a perverted ego that doesn't want to accept that anybody can be better than me, that anybody I have to follow, that I have to take some lessons from another one. I've had many examples I see, especially people who are with me. I find they get into left Vishuddhi very fast because they lack in protocol. Once they start lacking in protocol, they go into left Vishuddhi. So to be with me is a blessing, no doubt, but also one has to be very, very careful that you do not cross the protocols. Do not try to come over forward, just prancing. Some people have a habit of crossing the limits, and as soon as you cross the limit, left Vishuddhi is created. This should be awe for your mother. There should be respect for your mother, which is guarded by left Vishuddhi. Now, this is a very hidden power of Sri Ganesha. What you call is the power of Ganesha is left Vishuddhi acting like chastity. Ganesha's power are all expressed through left Vishuddhi. So those who believe in Ganesha in pure innocence must know that in your every day-to-day behavior, in every day-to-day action, there should be chastity. Ganesha is expressed as flowers of chastity. And just see, in the divine law, if there is no chastity, how do you delimit people? How do you make all right? How do you cleanse them? How do you make them evolve? Supposing a tree is growing and there is no limit in it. It just grows like a wild thing. It has no limits. Then what will you get out of it? Nothing. So to make a person higher and higher, you have to limit it. My father used to give a very good example of this, that if you take some wheat, the wheat, you please now don't disturb. If you want to go out, you can go out. But don't disturb the people, anybody moving about. This is also another thing. See, all these things are nothing but the upheaval of the left Vishuddhi. See, all this show off or disturbing or trying to be overpowering or very forward person or bumptiousness, all these come from left Vishuddhi because you want to overcome your left Vishuddhi, so you do it. And then it is added to it. The more you try to overcome it, the more it is added to it. Now, the father's story, I must tell you that he said that you have got the wheat and if you spread it, it just fritters away like attention does. But if you put in a gunny bag, you can heap it up and it can achieve a height. In the same way, if you fritter away your attention without chastity, it spreads out. It has no limits, it has no forms, it has no shape. But if you delimit it, then you become higher and higher and higher, and you can rise higher in your spiritual life. As you are the people who want to lead a very spiritual life, you must understand that left Vishuddhi is to be corrected. Now, how do you correct your left Vishuddhi? I get sometimes very tired with them, really I get very. I just give them up. Because if they are catching and you tell them you are catching, they become even worse. What a vicious circle it is. What is the cure for it? How to break the vicious circle? Is by facing it. Should say what? You are feeling guilty for what? You are doing the same mistake again and again and still you are doing it. You should give all injections to yourself. But instead of that they start telling me, no mother, no mother, no mother. You tell yourself, no, myself. I have done this today, tomorrow I am going to do it, day after tomorrow I am going to do it. Stop it now, stop. And stop at this point. There you exert your Vishnu Maya power. Vishnu Maya power has to be neutralized, if so, by your mistakes. But if it has to be brought back into its power, you must use Vishnu Maya's power by giving yourself shocks. Then only you can do it. So on that point, on the Vishnu Maya point, I really fail. You have to do it. And that's why I was thinking about this puja, that when you people are doing this puja to me, if I say anything, it will create more Vishnu Maya in you. But that's the easiest way to manage things. You see, I am feeling guilt. You're finished. I have taken the punishment, I call myself guilty. It's like in the court, the jury says you are guilty. All right, accepted, I am guilty. But no punishment. Take no punishment. If you have done wrong, then punish yourself. Now there are two ways people punish. One is like some people punish them by saying that I will not have my food. But those people who have a habit of not having food, and this thing can also become aggressive with that kind of a habit to trouble others by not eating food. I mean, human beings are very crooked. They know how to kill themselves with a crooked knife all the time. So that's not the way you can correct yourself. If you have to correct yourself, then you have to face yourself in a proper way. Supposing you have done something wrong, then you should do something that you would like to do normally and punish yourself. You should not do something that you would like to do normally. Like correcting yourself, somebody is, say, very fond of the gardens of flowers. Then you do some mistake, you don't see flowers for some time. Just close your eyes for flowers. Now, there are some people, supposing, who are fond of singing. So if you do mistakes, then just stop singing. That's how you have to shout. You must know Vishnu Maya is a lightning, and the lecture has to be like that. It cannot be that soft one as Sri Krishna was. It's a very powerful thing I'm telling you. And may God awaken that power within you of Vishnu Maya. It's the most powerful thing that a human being can have. It's the most auspicious thing. You become a holy personality. This is one of the ways of getting God's realization. It was a nice question, aptly asked, right time, yesterday, is to establish your chastity. Not by giving bandhans, taking vibrations from mother and then getting lost, not that way. You yourself correcting yourself morning till evening and facing yourself and not feeling guilty and learning new things. All the time is the sister who teaches you all the time how to be better and better and better, not the mother. Because mother, you can say no mother. To a sister, if you say electricity, all right? Try your fingers in the plug and you will know. No explanations. With this understanding, today we are going to do the puja for the establishment of our chastity. Chastity of our emotions and chastity of our mind. Now whatever you have done so far, forget it, forget the past. That is very important also, to forget the past. Because there's a very good way of explaining, because I had this, that's why it has happened. My mother was like this, that happened. My father was like this. Mother, father, everybody, you forget now you belong to this family, which is a holy family. People who are saints, sitting here, among them you are. And automatically these laws will start working. I will not have to tell you whether you be friendly with that person or not friendly with that person. During that fight, he told him,